Nicola Barbieri. When they arrested the man, named Bill Waz, they also discovered that he had a notebook detailing surveillance on Nicole. So if Nicole was being stalked, could this be part of a conspiracy that led to her murder?
Whoa, this is interesting. I mean, I can remember the thrill, the adrenaline was rushing through the entire press corps that day when all of a sudden it came out. Somebody was stalking Nicole Brown Simpson in December, and he's in jail with a diary, and one of the reasons he's in jail is for stealing Paula Barbieri's truck. Whoa, a lot of coincidences here, a lot of interest.
CNN raced to get the news story.
Why did they hire you to follow Nicole?
They wanted to know who she was seeing, who she was meeting.
Who hired you? Could you tell me? You don't want to tell me?
I can't tell you yet. That's pushing it. You know, I have my life too, you know. It's not much, but it's all I got.
The Los Angeles police took Waz's story seriously too. They sent one of their most experienced murder detectives on the case to Calipatria prison to check it out.
We flew down there and went in and talked to Mr. Waz. My objective with Mr. Waz was twofold. One, obviously, to get a handwriting exemplar that would certainly lock it down that he was, in fact, the one that wrote those entries, which he never denied. And the other is to find out what was going on.
Bill Waz was also a cocaine dealer. He'd been introduced to Simpson and a close friend by one of the staff in the Roxbury nightclub.
He hooked me up with some people that wanted to buy some cocaine, and then O.J. came strolling over and he introduced himself as well.
Still in prison, Waz agreed to be interviewed by telephone for this film.
We exchanged numbers, and they said we'd be doing business in the future, and we did it from there, yes. I mean, they weren't habitual users, they were recreational users, maybe twice a week.
Waz said he delivered cocaine to Simpson and Nicole at the home on Rockingham Avenue. But more importantly, Waz also says he supplied Simpson's friend. It was this same friend who then asked him to follow Nicole and to take pictures of her with any man she met. No private eye, Bill Waz thought that it would be easy money.
They asked me if I would do a little surveillance on O.J.'s ex-wife, see if she was cheating on him with any individual, but she was at that time staying at the Rockingham address. I picked her up there. I followed her around for about a day and a half, and I took some pictures at Tony Roma's off Ventura Boulevard of her kissing a black individual, a man who I later learned was Marcus Allen.
Nicole's affair with American football star Marcus Allen had already caused friction. Armed with the rolls of film, Waz met Simpson's friend, who can't be named for legal reasons, in the parking lot of McDonald's on Ventura Boulevard.
I believe I turned over the film and got the cash to him at the parking lot in Encino, McDonald's. And 10 days after that, he invited me over to his house.
Remarkably, the friend then asked Waz to steal Simpson's girlfriend's four-wheel drive car. Waz was told when and where to take it, even where the keys would be. Shortly after stealing the car, Waz was arrested and jailed for 20 years for a series of armed robberies. But clearly, he knew more about the operation. After getting the basic details, Detective Bert Looper wanted to know who'd hired him.
I asked him, well, you know, who are these people? Were they friends of O.J. or, you know, well, they're close to O.J. And then he starts asking me some questions.
Waz asked Detective Looper how much he knew about this particular friend of Simpson's.
Well, maybe you should look into his background. Maybe you should be looking into his friends. Well, if you're listening to what he's telling you, then the connection back to O.J. is there. All right, so why would O.J. want to follow Nicole, and why would O.J.'s friend hire this dope-dealing drug addict to do it? So with this information, I go back to the police department, and I said, look, Tom, this guy's righteous. He's telling me the truth. He admits to writing this stuff. We got the handwriting exemplar, and solidifies that. This is way before the murder occurred. I think that this guy can lead us to a contract killing, and we can go after more than one person here. And I don't remember if it was Phil or Tom who said, hey, they're not going to follow it up, forget it. That's coming from the DA's office. That isn't coming from two investigators who know that this is a good clue or a good direction to follow.
For the prosecution, Waz's story didn't fit with the notion of Simpson as the jealous husband and lone killer. Just 2 months after the murders, and before the court case had even begun, the investigation was dropped.
While we're all running around trying to get some answers to this, we're told by both sides, another one of those cranks. Guys, don't worry about it. That notebook was made up in prison. It's a forgery. It's a fake. Forget about it. Go on. So, and I'm ashamed to say I was one of the people at the middle of the press corps at that time. And because we had so many things coming and going like that, I'm embarrassed to say I believed them. Since both sides put it out so categorically. And it made sense. Another criminal trying to make money off of the O.J. Simpson case.
But 4 years later, Joe Bosco discovered that the Waz notebook was not a forgery as he had been told. He then tracked Waz down to interview him. Still in prison, Waz told him the full story. Waz explained that 10 days after handing over the photographs, he had been asked by Simpson's same friend to a meeting for a new assignment.
It was venerating rage, how much she caused O.J., how she talked too much about business ventures, of her sleeping with a lot of his friends. It would be safe to say that she kind of pushed the envelope a little bit there. So.
But tonight, he also reveals that Simpson's friend then hired him as a hitman to kill Nicole.
Basically made the proposition, asked him wanted me to take a certain gun, which he had, which I did not take, and asked me if I would do her for, get rid of her for 15 grand. And I semi-accepted the responsibility to do the deed.
But Waz suspected that if he killed Nicole, he would be set up as the fall guy.
I believe that they'd have had me done the deed, either A, framed me for it, or B, killed me on the spot and placed me as some kind of psycho stalker of O.J.'s women or something, who knows. But I already saw that coming, sort of, so that's why I never even intended to do the deed.
Bosco then approached Bill Hodgman, the Director of Special Operations in the District Attorney's Office, who had worked on the case.
And I said, Bill, you remember the Waz story? Is it worth following up on? Is it worth my time? And Bill Hodgman said something I'll never forget. He said, Joseph, if they gave me a paid leave of absence, I would do nothing but work the Waz angle. I believe that's where this crime would have been and can be broken.
Bosco then brought in a former senior prosecutor to act as Waz's lawyer, who needed to be convinced of his client's story.
I wanted to really get inside of his mind. He's a very awesome, intimidating individual, and I wanted to look him in the eye, so to speak, and see what's in it for you. See, if there was something in it for him, then maybe I'd have had a different read on it. But when a guy gives you this kind of evidence, lays himself out, is threatened, see, now he's going to be known as a snitch, right? Snitch is not what you want to be in Calipatria. And he was on level 4, which is with the bad of the baddest, okay? Those were the highest killers in prison. That's where he was stationed. So you don't want to be laying yourself out unless you get something. And he wanted nothing. I said, well, what do you want to do this for? It was almost like, I hate to say it, he was an honorable crook.
Bill Hodgman in the District Attorney's Office was impressed by the evidence backing up Waz's story. He asked Bert Looper, the detective who had investigated the case first time round, to work with Bosco. They began to look into Simpson's friend. Looper and Bosco discovered that the friend had connections to other illegal activities. They found that Nicole may have become indiscreet about these criminal enterprises, and that she might have been killed to keep her quiet. But a new LAPD investigation of the Simpson case was not a popular move. It was shut down.
When you get into embarrassing the department or hurting or tarnishing the image of the Los Angeles Police Department, as the O.J. Simpson case did do. It embarrassed the investigative branch of the Los Angeles Police Department. Bottom line, they don't want that again, all right? Because now they got to deal with the same issues again.
They just don't want to know. They don't want to know what really happened. I mean, that's the best way I can put it. I would have loved to have heard, about Waz when it happened. I would have loved to have seen what was the reason why you guys don't want to follow his lead. Can't hurt you.
In my view, that investigation should have proceeded onward. If you go after these people and you have a solid case and you're working with a solid foundation and you're doing the right things, who cares if you get embarrassed? I mean, is your job the truth or is it your image?
The district attorney's office refused to take part in this film. They closed down the Waz investigation twice, despite evidence of a plot against Nicole. They failed to investigate Jason Simpson's alibi. They failed to compare Jason's fingerprints with the 9 unidentified prints found at the murder scene. And in a last and final twist, they have also failed to follow up a forgotten clue from Ron Goldman's shirt, which one of the original trial consultants believes could shed light on the killer.
There's 2 patterns that are very significant and quite remarkable on the back of his shirt. And those are grab patterns, bloody grab patterns, meaning that the hand of someone else, not himself because it would be impossible, that have grabbed and twisted the back of his shirt, in the mid-back and on the upper left shoulder.
Using new scientific techniques, Rod Englert believes that these grab patterns could still identify the killer once and for all.
In the last 2 years, there has been a process of getting fingerprints off of cloth with blood as the medium. And yes, this shirt has the possibility of now, even today, even though it's been handled, but I don't think it'll ever be done. This case is closed. Nobody wants to talk about this anymore. A lot of things have happened. There's a lot of water under the bridge. And the jury has already spoken.
5 years on, is it possible that the case could be reopened? It's clear from the new leads revealed tonight that a new investigation may be able to solve the crime. With accusations of corruption within the Los Angeles police forcing the reopening of hundreds of other cases, the truth about the deaths of Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman could still